vez más al Pit Stop de María. Estoy muy emocionada, creo que lo pueden ver en mi cara y escuchar en mi voz porque estoy aquí con una de las personas más icónicas del paddock. So it's time for us to switch to English. Amy Overy, how are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm really excited. You're our first F1 guest.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. How are you after this hectic Italian Grand Prix?
Oh my goodness, it was so hectic. What a race. Did you enjoy it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I was waiting for Daniel's podium for a long time, and then seeing Lando in P2, it was amazing.
The atmosphere was incredible, and everybody at McLaren was so happy, and actually everybody else in the paddock was so happy for them. I think because it had been such a long time since that had happened for the team, and they're a lovely team, they're great people to deal with, the drivers are really good fun. So I don't really think, possibly apart from Max and Lewis, that there was anybody that was unhappy that that was the result. So yeah, it was really good fun, really good atmosphere, enjoyed it a lot.
So going a little bit more to talk about you, what is your role in F1? Like, what do you normally do?
Okay, so my role is I'm a producer, and I work specifically for the digital team within F1. So I work for Formula One itself, the rights holders, and I've done it for probably working for digital. This is my 4th season doing that. But before that, I was a production assistant, and I used to do replays a long time ago, like 20 years ago. And I actually ended up being the pit lane interviewer reporter, running around in a fire suit with a microphone. So I did that for a few years. And then I actually left Formula One when I got married and had a normal life where I wasn't traveling and missing weddings and parties and significant things. So and I did a bit of freelancing. And then when my son was 3, he's now 13 and a half, I came back to F1 as a freelancer. So I don't do all of the races, but I do probably about 17 or 18 out of the whole season. So it's still quite a lot, but they're sort of spread out, and I'm able to choose the ones that I'm able to do, which is nice. My role as a producer basically means that we create content for F1 TV, for F1.com, the website, for Instagram, for all of our digital outlets. And I work with presenters Will Buxton, Lawrence Barretto, sometimes Rosanna Tennant, Laura Winter, Ariana Bravo, Melissa Natu. So we've got lots of people, Sam Collins, the list goes on. So as a producer, you have to be very organised, and you are basically responsible for making sure that everything happens on time, where it should be, that everyone is where they should be and knows what they're doing, that the cameramen, anybody from audio, any requirements are all sort of taken care of, and you liaise with the teams as well. So you'll be telling the drivers and the press officers exactly what it is that you're doing. So that's good. We do features, and then we do things that we do every single week at a race without fail. So we do shows like Paddock Pass, Weekend Warm Up, which are really good fun. And then we also have to do interviews with every single driver after the second free practice on a Friday, which is something that I coordinate. But aside from that, I still work for the World Feed, and I help floor manage the post-qualifying and post-race interviews in Parc Fermé. So getting the interviewer there, making sure the camera and audio are there, getting the drivers to the right spot, that kind of thing. And also the drivers parade, which is really good fun. I help to floor manage that. So because of COVID, it's changed slightly. So normally we wouldn't go on the truck, but because we have to try and keep the drivers kind of separate and bring them up to the interviewer, I'm on one of the trucks. And my friend and colleague Kata is on another truck. So yeah, it's a varied role, and I do lots of different things, but that's what keeps it interesting, and I really enjoy it.
That's such an exciting role, I have to admit. And you are the very first permanent female in the production team.
Yes.
How do you feel about giving this giant step for women in motorsport?
I think at the time I was 23, and I think I just had the ignorance of youth, and I didn't perhaps understand what a big deal it was back then. For me, it was just a really exciting job. I'd worked in music radio, which I loved. I love music. That's my other big thing. And so to get this job in Formula One was incredible. I really wasn't expecting it. It was a bit of a surprise. And So when I interviewed for the job and I joined, I didn't really give much thought to the kind of split of gender between men and women. Obviously, Formula One has always been a very male-dominated sport, and that has changed considerably in the 20 odd years that I've been doing it. But everyone has always been so lovely. All of my colleagues, they're good friends. You know, we've been friends for a long, long time. We travel together, we eat together, we work together. So I don't think at the time I realised that it was maybe a big thing, but looking back now, yeah, I'm really proud that I was the first sort of full-time woman working for the production team. Thankfully, it is growing, and there are a lot more women in all aspects of Formula One, and particularly for our company from the TV side. In every single department, there are lots more women, and hopefully that will continue to grow.
Yeah, well, I have to tell you that every time that I can see a girl or a woman in the paddock in motorsport talking about Formula One, it's really heartwarming. So you just told us that you're a digital producer, you work in media, but how do you feel about being the mastermind behind all of these videos that make us laugh so hard that for myself, I feel like my lungs are going to explode or something, like my like Secret Santa or the rookie year, everything.
Oh, well, I'm glad you like them. That some of them are really good fun to make. And I have to say, the two that you've just mentioned, Secret Santa and the Rookie of the Year, are two of my favourite things that I've been involved in. Rookie of the Year a couple of years ago with George, Lando and Alex was just such fun because they are really good friends. And so they weren't faking it. They weren't sort of pretending to make fun of each other. They really were. And it was just a really silly shoot. And I did the interviews with the drivers afterwards for their reaction. And I just loved it. I had to stop myself from giggling because I enjoyed it so much. I mean, it's not just me. I am part of a team. We're a small team, much bigger back in the UK. But when we travel, there's probably only 6 or 7 of us at the most. So it's very, very small. But I work with some great producers and content makers. So it's not always me, but I'm very happy to be involved, and it's nice to have some fun ideas. And then when they happen and they work and people enjoy them, like the Rookie of the Year shoot, yeah, you feel really proud that you've actually made that happen. And actually it just makes work really enjoyable because you're having fun and you're laughing, and you know, the drivers are happy, and happy drivers means good content. So it's a win-win situation all around, basically.
That's great. And there's always like this other side of the coin. I don't want to get you in trouble, right? But which one is the video that you haven't enjoyed, or let's say like the hardest to produce?
I can't actually think of an example of something that I haven't enjoyed doing. Some things have just been a little bit more difficult than others, perhaps logistically where we are, or we had a situation in Germany last year where we were very, very short-staffed because a couple of our team had tested positive for COVID, which meant that we couldn't bring other people out at short notice. So that was a lot of hard work. And so probably that was a weekend that wasn't that enjoyable in terms of making the content, but we managed to kind of only do what was necessary and kind of get rid of anything that we didn't need to do. So that made it a little bit easier. I think generally our stuff is easy and enjoyable because we have good crew, we have good cameramen, good audio operators, and it's all about relationships as well with the teams and the press officers and the drivers. And I think the difficult ones are when the drivers aren't really in a good mood or don't really want to do it, and that's difficult because you have to try and be enthusiastic and still make it happen. And you know that the editors will do a fantastic job with it, but you can't fake that reaction from the driver. So if they're feeling a bit flat or they're not having a great day, then you're always going to struggle. And those ones are a little bit more difficult, but I can't think of anything in particular. They're all okay, she says, not getting herself into trouble.
Well, talking a bit about women in motorsport, what are your thoughts on everything that the FIA has been doing regarding, for example, Formula E with Girls on Track in this conference where webinars participated in one of those, right?
Yeah, I did. I was really honoured and flattered to be asked to take part in Girls on Track. It was great. Ariana Bravo, she interviewed me, and I was really nervous actually, knowing that lots of people were watching, lots of girls, and not just girls, other people watching too. But it felt like I had quite a lot of responsibility, I think, to sort of show what Formula One is for women and kind of, you know, how I got there and my journey to Formula One. So I think it's great what the FIA are doing with the Girls on Track, and you can see it when you are at circuits. You can see it in every part of Formula One. So traditionally, women would occupy the press officer or communications roles or catering or that sort of thing, and now there's so many more sort of engineers and girls looking after tires, and you know, you see them on the pit wall, and there's some brilliant strategists out there and some incredible engineering brains. So it's really nice, and all the reporters and everybody else, just everywhere, and that's so good. So I think the initiative from the FIA is great, and I think it was the Girls on Track. I thought it was a brilliant idea because it spoke to lots of different women in different roles, everything from marketing to, you know, what I do in producing and sponsorship and that kind of thing. And I just think that it just gives girls an idea that Formula One isn't just one thing, it's lots of different things, and they're all needed, and all of those roles are needed. So whatever your interest is, you can somehow apply it to a role in Formula One. And yeah, it's a great career.
Now talking a bit about off-track things, you're one in a million. Like everyone normally has like dogs or cats or rabbits as pets, but you have 3 chickens. Or how do you get there? And have you ever thought of taking your favorite one to play with Roscoe at the paddock?
Could you imagine chickens running around the paddock? My God, that would be insane. My chickens are stupid, and they're very badly behaved, and they will come in the house and they will eat everything, they will jump on the table, so they can't be trusted anywhere. I can't even imagine what that would be like. But yeah, we've had chickens for a few years. I've always wanted them, and I love cooking, I love baking, so I always wanted like chickens for eggs. And they're great pets actually. So my son was only about 3, I think, when we got our first chickens, and they're just brilliant pets to have around. They're very curious, they're quite cheeky, they follow you around the garden, they're always after food. They're worse than dogs, they're just so hungry all the time, and you can do a bit of gardening and uncover a few worms and they'll be straight in there eating all the worms. So they also eat all the plants, which isn't so good. So but I think the pros of having them definitely outweighs the cons. But I can just imagine they would terrorize Roscoe, I think. But interestingly, we are getting a dog next week. We're getting a puppy. And so I don't know how it's going to be. I'm looking outside because I can see my chickens outside now, and I'm thinking, my God, you've got no idea what's coming. This mad puppy is going to be chasing you around the garden. So, oh God. So fingers crossed it will all be okay. But yeah, I love my chickens so much. They're great.
And how's the puppy going to be called? Is it going to be inspired in motorsport or something else?
No, sadly not. My son has the final word on the name for the puppy, and at the moment he's settled on Ollie because it's a boy. So we're actually going to go and see all the puppies tomorrow as well, just to kind of go say hi and see how they're getting on. But yeah, so no motorsport names. I know a few people who do that. They've called their dogs and cats things like Enzo after Enzo Ferrari and Kimi. Things, but no, I try and keep the work separate if I can.
But you're also a sourdough fan, right? So when you come to Mexico, can we have a master class of sourdough? Because I see you rather cook than pack your bag for Formula One.
Yes, yeah. Basically, it's my way of getting out of packing. I hate packing. I hate it. And you'd think after all this time, I'd be able to do it with my eyes closed. And sometimes it's a surprise to me when I get to my hotel what I've packed, because I just chuck it all in and just hope for the best. But I love baking, and so I'm actually baking some bread at the moment. My dough is just over there on the other side of the kitchen. But yes, we can have a masterclass. I can bring some of my sourdough starter over with me in like a little container, and we can do that.
Great, I'll be looking forward to it.
Excellent.
And outside F1, what's the thing that you enjoy the most doing? Like, what is the thing that gets your creativity going?
Probably cooking and baking. They're the two things that I really enjoy doing. But I also grow food. I don't know if it's the same in Mexico, but we have something called an allotment, and it's not by my house. It's about half a mile away, and everybody just has a little patch of ground and that they rent off the local council. It's so British, and you just grow whatever you want. It's been a bit neglected this year because it's been quite a busy year. But usually I grow sort of potatoes and garlic and pumpkins and beans and sweet corn and all sorts, and salads. So I enjoy doing that, and then I enjoy taking what I've grown and turning it into meals and cooking. And I'm very greedy, and I'm very obsessed with food. I think I don't just see food as something to eat, as fuel. I love one thing I love about traveling so much is going to different places and experiencing different foods. And the food of Mexico is just incredible. And I've only had a tiny amount, but it's so inspiring to see what other countries and other cultures eat and how they eat. And I love watching food being prepared, and I love learning recipes. And in fact, in Mexico City, one of the chefs gave me his recipe for his salsa, which is lovely, and I make it, and I always think of that restaurant in Mexico. So things like that. I think food always has a story behind it, and it gets passed down like that, and you just learn from people, and it becomes part of your knowledge. And I think feeding people is like an act of love as well. If you're making a meal for somebody or making something, then you're showing your appreciation and that you care about them. And also it's nice. I have music on and I cook and I'm shearing the chickens out of the kitchen. And I find that very relaxing, because traveling, it's great. I love it. I'm very lucky, but it can be quite tiring. And when you've been away, as I have, just only for 2 weeks. I didn't do Belgium, but I did the Netherlands and Italy, and I didn't come home in between. You just want to be at home, just doing your own thing, chilling out. And for me, that means cooking. I also like running. So I'll do that, and I love gardening. So they're my three things really that are guaranteed relaxers.
Well, that's great. And if you need a tour guide for the Mexican Grand Prix, I'm available as long as we don't tell my parents that I'm skipping college. That's okay.
I don't want to get you into trouble.
Don't worry, I can manage that. And well, now heading into the game, you normally torture the drivers. I'm not saying that I'm going to torture you.
Oh my God.
Neither I'm saying that any of the 20 of them got in touch with me to do this. But this is called the ABC de la Formula 1, or F1's ABC. Amy, are you ready?
I think so.
This driver only got 6 correct answers while naming F1 teams, and he's one of the rookies this year. No.
Oh no.
He got 6.
I shall tease him about that when I see him.